Well, as I've discussed the fact of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo resigning this week and hitting the eject button amid a sexual harassment scandal and nursing home deaths due to recklessness and the calls that kept piling up for him to resign, truth is, Cuomo just ran out of options. He either had to leave or be impeached. My first guest tonight is a member of Congress. She represents New York's 22nd district. She served in the New York Assembly prior to that. She knows Cuomo and his bullying style of governing. She says the reign of King Cuomo is finally over. Please welcome to the show a wonderful friend, a terrific Congresswoman, Claudia Tenney.
Wow.
You know, Congresswoman, when we originally scheduled you, we did not realize what a timely presence you would bring to this show, being from New York and having known Cuomo and worked with him in the Assembly there.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job reciting the facts. It's been a long, hard road for New Yorkers. I first got elected in 2010 when Cuomo was elected, so I could see firsthand, all the way back in 2014 was the first time I called for his resignation when he created a public corruption commission that got too close to him and his aides, so he shut it down. And we just, it's been just a real difficult time. We've had a 60% increase in spending. We've had out-migration of over 1 million people in New York State. We're even losing a congressional seat. So we've had a really hard time in New York, which is why so many New Yorkers and so many of my friends have come to Tennessee,
yes,
Florida. They've left New York because the governing style is just one-party rule with the Democrats. And also you see this corrupt style of governing from Governor Cuomo. And we're hoping that the lieutenant governor will take a new course and chart a new road for us in New York.
But this is 3 in a row for you guys. I mean, this is kind of weird that you just have, a succession of governors who are shown the door in the middle of their term. Eliot Spitzer, David Paterson, and Cuomo. You knew all of these people.
Yeah.
What I think was so maybe stunning was that Cuomo was riding high not that many months ago, and the Democrats turned on him in a harsh way. Did that surprise you?
No, because if you just cited a really important fact is that it seems that whenever, at least in the recent history in New York, the Attorney General, Cuomo pushed Spitzer out, and then Cuomo pushed Governor Paterson out, and then now we have our Attorney General, Letitia James, pushing Cuomo out. So it seems that they are in an unusual position. I argue maybe they shouldn't even be allowed to run for governor because there's an inherent conflict. And not that I'm defending Cuomo in any way. There's so many reasons Cuomo needed to go. And finally, this was the tip of the spear. But one of the things you mentioned that I think is critically important is not only were the Democrats on the New York stage, but also nationally were calling for his resignation. The most critical thing is for the first time, the Albany press corps, who I think of as very corrupt, who give him a back massage, they're like lapdogs, finally realized they're supposed to be watchdogs for all of us. That's their role in the press. They finally stood up and actually started looking and holding Cuomo accountable. That had not happened.
Was that the tipping point, you think, when he knew that he didn't even have the Capitol Press Corps with him anymore?
I think that was a big part. I mean, if you just see the way the Capitol Press Corps, and also his key aide resigned, I knew it was going to happen as soon as they started the impeachment proceedings. And in New York, you only need 76 votes to get on the floor of the state assembly. So they had more than 76 votes for the impeachment.
This past week, 19 Republicans joined in what I'm just scratching my head. They called it an infrastructure bill. I'm all for infrastructure. But Congresswoman, I look at that bill, there's a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with infrastructure. What's going to happen when that gets to the House?
Yeah, unfortunately, we are in the minority, and we have a slim majority, but if you notice how Nancy Pelosi, our Speaker, operates, it doesn't matter if you have a 70-person majority or a 3 or 4-person majority. She looks a lot like Governor Cuomo to me. She's all about abusing power. I mean, you would think they would want to compromise, and I'm concerned that the Republicans are giving the Democrats a veneer of bipartisanship in the Senate for getting this thing passed. This bill is terrible, and I'm a business owner. That's how I got into politics later in life. I got tired of politicians telling me, we're going to lower your taxes, we're going to take care of you, and then they'd go to Albany and my taxes would go up, the regulations were, and I'm a business owner. We have a small business. This is our 75th year. And so that was the reason I got involved in politics. I just couldn't take it anymore. And now I go to Washington, and we're looking at deficits. I mean, we're going to see the massive deficit. And one thing interesting, if you look at the infrastructure bill, only 10% actually goes to what we think of as infrastructure, roads and bridges.
Yeah.
Only 10%. And then the spending, when you add in their budget, it's 4 times or nearly 4 times larger than the New Deal, Roosevelt's New Deal. I'm not talking about AOC's Green New Deal,
Right.
which is a big part of it. But the new spending is going to be bigger, and that accounts for inflation. So we're seeing a real, takeaway of our rights, our freedoms. We're seeing an authoritarian type of regime coming in where we're not going to have any rights as citizens, and we're going to be overtaxed, and we're going to start looking like old Europe.
Gas is up, groceries are up, Americans are facing inflation. Are you optimistic that in 2022, Americans are going to wake up and realize, hey, these Democrats did this to us, they overspent, overborrowed, and all of us are in trouble? Will we see a return of the House to Republican control and maybe bring, I hope, some common sense back to the governing?
I think we have a really good shot,
Yeah.
but it's not guaranteed because we have an issue in this country with election integrity. And that's going to be the issue.
Yes. And you know that because your election was contested for over 100 days. I hope your message gets out there. Claudia Tenney, what a joy to have you here. It is a real pleasure. Please come back. And
thank you.
We don't have to wait for some crisis in New York to bring you back, by the way.
Thank you so much.
But what a week to be a New Yorker. Now, for our audience, I know you're going to want to keep up with the Congresswoman, and you can on Twitter at Claudia Tenney. It's on your screen, or at Rep. Tenney. And we're so happy to have her here.